Well, the toxicity in the culture resides in the fact that it's not designed to meet human needs. It's designed to meet the needs of those in control, and that imposes certain conditions. First of all, it inculcates a certain psychology, which is that of passivity and acquiescence to power. And as Yanis was talking about, a kind of passive consumerism, where we're motivated to act not according to our needs, but according to the desires inculcated in us by the system. And for that to happen from early in life, we have to be disconnected from our feelings and our gut feelings actually, and be disconnected from ourselves. And there's many conditions in the society that create that from actually in utero onwards, because the more stressed people are, already pregnant women who are stressed, that's going to affect the physiology and the psychology of their infants in the womb and afterwards. And then the way we raise kids, which is no longer like I was in Greece a few times, and more in Greece still, but much less so than it used to be. There still is a sense of community and communalism. I don't mean communism, I mean communalism, the sense that we belong together. People dance in the streets together, and communities still know each other, and they eat together and all that. But that's falling apart in Greece. I know that. People are getting more individualistic, more competitive, more isolated. There's an epidemic of loneliness, and loneliness itself is a risk factor for disease. In the West, particularly in the globalized precincts of North America, but increasingly in Europe as well, the less and less of that sense of community, more and more sense of isolation, individualistic aspiration, where our aspirations are no longer what's good for the whole, but what's good for me in opposition to everybody else. Those ideologies and that way of being actually makes people physically sick. And that suppression of the self that this society, from an early age on, actually has physiological implications for our health. And not to mention, and I talked about this earlier, the stress imposed by the insecurity, by the loss of control. I mean, you look at the major factors that promote stress, they're loss of control, loss of security, conflict, lack of sense of agency. Those conditions actually stress people physiologically, which makes them more prone for illness. So that what I'm saying overall is that the very nature of this system functions to disempower people, to have them pursue needs that are not real needs, as Yanis was just talking about, but desires ingrained in them through a very subtle system of propaganda and control. And that actually makes us sick. And so if you look at the epidemic of more kids being diagnosed with depression, anxiety, attention problems, suicidality, more and more adults. I mean, Yanis mentioned the suicide rate in Greece after the fall of the Soviet Union. There was a huge, because of the loss of the social network. Whatever you can say about communism, I'm not here to advocate for Soviet communism, but the end of it created a lot of insecurity, a lot of suicide, a lot more people dying of alcoholism. In North America last year, I don't know if you guys know this, but in 1 year, more Americans died of overdoses, twice as many Americans died of overdoses in 1 year than died in the Vietnam, Iraq, and Afghan wars put together. And so these are not individual problems, they're the outcomes of a certain system, and that's why I'm calling it a toxic culture. It literally poisons people.